Hey guys, how's it going? We've talked about LED lighting a couple times in the past, but we're finally making a video dedicated to it. Now, we're huge fans of LED lighting because it's lightweight and it's mobile, mainly because it's running off of batteries. And it's a perfect complement to our shooting style.
So over the last few months, we've actually been working with light panels to test out a bunch of their new gear. So as you're probably familiar with, we like to shoot our videos in crazy locations. You know, a pirate ship out in the middle of the ocean, or maybe a mountaintop, or heck, maybe a guerrilla shoot in the middle of a deserted alleyway. But the point is that in these locations, you can only use what you bring with you. And that means you can't bring a power outlet. So everything, including cameras, microphones, and lights, needs to be running on batteries.
When we can, we still plug in big lights, if possible. But the thing is, we use those for environment lighting. Set it up in the background, point it on the side of a building or a wall, and forget about it for the rest of the shoot. And then we use all the lightweight, battery-powered, wireless LED lights for all like the light around our actors and our characters. Because what that lets us do, it lets us be very flexible. Because when you're moving around big lights that are plugged in, you gotta deal with the cables. Also, those lights get incredibly hot, they're huge, they're heavy. Screw that. Also, not to mention, since LED lights are so light, you can have them on a stand, but you can even just hold them in your hands and use that to light the actor.
Yeah, Prism is actually the one shoot where we relied on that for an entire night of shooting. Basically, as Niko mentioned, throw up the environment lights, and one person would hold the camera, and then two other people would literally hold the LED lights, and then everyone would move.
It's like one unit.
In formation. And it was pretty amazing how much we were able to film in such a limited amount of time.
Yeah, we'd always have one light dedicated to an edge, one light dedicated to a key, and the camera.
And that's how we shot 5 minutes of footage in 4 hours.
Also, Blood Dragon is another great example where we had a huge light to light the environment, then LED lights to light the actors.
So what is actually the most important thing about LED lights? More than anything else, it's the battery technology that really powers them. For LED panels, there's no way to meter how much power you have left in your lights. And that's actually why we've been choosing to use Anton Bauer batteries.
And the reason is they have this cool system built into the battery that tells you how long the battery is going to last on the current power draw. That's incredibly useful when you're sitting there on your shoot and you don't want a light dying in the middle of your shot. Also, the thing is the battery adjusts in real time, so if you switch the power level of the light, because you can dim LEDs and brighten them, the battery will update to tell you how long it will last at that current power draw. It's really cool, really handy, and those batteries also have a nice rugged connector so you can throw them on the charger, throw them on the light, and they're not going to break. V-locks are cool, they're good for the camera, but they're not quite as rugged as we need for going back and forth on lights.
There's a bunch of cool tricks we know, and we're about to share one of them with you. And it's actually something that's made possible by this super cool light panel ring light that we've been using a lot. If you have seen our Kittens on the Beat video, or maybe our Blood Dragon video, you're already familiar with this effect. A ring light projects light from the source of the camera. Basically, it gives you that cool, high fashion look, but if you want to be a total baller, you actually throw this on your camera and use some reflector tape to make Tron-like laser-lined edges. We tried this in the past with a bunch of different things. In dubstep guns and Prism, we're using EL wire to try and light people up, but we found it's way easier to just throw reflector tape and use this at the same time for a much better effect.
Let's demonstrate.
Watch this cool thing. All right, this is Niko before being super cool.
Boo.
And this is Niko after being super cool. What the heck is this? What? Totally not cool. Back to cool. So anyways, that's how you do it.
So you've made it this far, meaning you probably actually give a crap about what we're talking about. And you are actually interested in LED lighting. So you're probably wondering, what makes an LED panel good? What are things you want to look for?
So we're going to give you the tech specs and also some cool details that you probably wouldn't know yourself.
All right, so hold on to your butts, it's about to get technical. So there's basically three things you want to look for in an LED panel. CRI, aka color rendering index, the actual quality and neutrality of the light, and then finally, does it flicker? CRI stands for color rendering index. And so you can have LEDs that look white that don't actually represent all colors correctly. There might be a spectrum in the orange or in the blue that is completely missing. Even though it looks white to your eyes, you shine this light at a certain color and that color is not reproduced correctly.
So what that means is that even though the lights will look fine in real life, once you turn your camera on and start rolling, you'll notice that all the colors are just shifting a little bit, and it looks a little bit weird.
Much like with fluorescence, LEDs can tend to shift green or magenta. So you want to make sure you get an LED panel that is very selectively picked out LEDs that are very neutral. One of the reasons we prefer light panels is because they have a very high quality control for which LEDs they use, and they are very good at being neutral in like a nice clean white.
A really good example of non-neutral LED lights is, for example, the light on your phone. So even though this light looks white, when you actually shine it on your subject, you'll notice that there's a slight greenish yellowish tint. That's because the light's not neutral. Flicker. That is the last thing that you need to look out for in using LED lights. How does flickering happen from LED lights? Well, mostly because they are using pulse wave modulation. Essentially, that means that they're turning on and off really, really fast. When you're using a camera, depending on a certain shutter speed that you might be at, you'll actually see the light cutting in and out and getting little tiny bars scaling up and down your image.
Higher quality LED panels, like these light panels, don't actually use pulse wave modulation to dim. They actually use an amperage control. So by actually putting less electricity into the LEDs, they dim down without actually turning off and on really fast.
So pretty much you can shoot in slow motion or any shutter speed or frame rate you want, and you don't get flickering. Oh. Yay!
We're gonna take a second to show you guys some of our LED lights that we use so you can get an idea of what's out there. So first off, we have this Fresnel made by Light Panel. It's still battery powered right here, mounted on the stand, and it controls just like a regular Fresnel in that you can move the lens back and forth to focus your light, and you can dim it right up here, which is pretty neat. It doesn't get hot, I can touch it at any time, not burn my hand off. Pretty cool. It's also a little bit lighter than a real Fresnel. You can get them in daylight and tungsten balance. So this is our beast LED panel.
This is the heaviest one, but it's also the brightest.
This is the Helio.
Look how bright this is.
Oh!
Look how bright this is.
We use this in the Poacher actually to do some lighting outdoors. It's bright enough to actually compete with sunlight. Maybe not like direct noon Los Angeles sunlight, but if there's a little bit of cloud cover or you're in the morning or evening, this is a great way to get like some edge lighting on the character.
Yeah, or if you're in shadow and you don't have a reflector.
By the way, still battery powered, lets you hike up a mountain with it.
Yeah, but it uses 2 though. That's why it's so bright.
Over here we have the old standby 1x1 from Light Panel. It goes back and forth from tungsten to daylight, and of course you can dim it as well. Pretty cool. And when you dim it, it still maintains the same color neutrality that it has when it's fully bright or dimmed. Not bad. And finally, the prize in our collection, the Astra. Brand new, you can control the brightness, and you can control the color balance, but it's super fine clarity, high CRI bulbs, lenses over each LED so it has a ton of throw, which is kind of like how your beam focuses, and it's incredibly bright. And it still runs off of just one battery.
Yeah, look how freaking
nuts.
bright this is.
Pretty nuts.
Look how bright this is. Here, let's just show
I can see my bones.
So I actually kind of think it's really cool. It's actually super bright. So this is like what the old one does. It's about like that bright, and this is about how bright the new one is. It's pretty freaking bright. Let me see. Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So obviously there's a lot of different brands of LED panels out there for all these different types of budgets. Nice. But we ourselves use light panels. We definitely recommend them. They're high quality lights. They're actually one of the first LED panels on the market. So they know their stuff. And also if you're looking for batteries to power those lights, definitely check out Anton Bauer. Once again, a little bit higher price range. Depends on what works for you. There's a lot of options. But those are some good things that you should check out. All right. Thanks, guys.
Let's stop it.